Influencing popular culture, politics, and everything in between. The local station takes you ringside as we discuss the crazy world that is professional wrestling. This is Going Ringside with The Local Station.
Hey there, thanks for joining us for another episode of Going Ringside. I'm your host, Scott Johnson, and decided to dress a little more for this episode, put a tie on because we got the president on today. President Trump is here, and we're going to talk about what he's talking about in just a minute with respect to a UFC fight at the White House. But first, put it on the screen. I need you to do us a favor. If you're watching us on this YouTube channel, our brand new Going Ringside YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Going Ringside, click subscribe. We need to keep growing this thing. With the biggest wrestling stars on the planet each week, we're getting many of the biggest UFC fighters of all time on the show. We need your help growing this channel so we can make this a massive success that we know it will be. But let's talk about what we're here to talk about today. Right before the 4th of July, the night before, did you hear what the president said? I think he was in Iowa at the time. Let's roll it.
We're going to have a UFC fight. We're going to have a UFC fight. Think of this, on the grounds of the White House. We have a lot of land there. We're going to build a little. We're not. Dana's going to do it. Dana's great, one of a kind. We're going to have a UFC fight, championship fight, full fight, like 20, 25,000 people. And we're going to do that as part of 250 also.
So when I'm sitting there planning my next episode of Going Ringside, which guest do we want to bring on? And I saw that, I'm like, stop. Everything stops right now. A UFC fight on the White House. I've honestly been predicting something like this since Linda McMahon was in Trump's first cabinet back in 2016, 2017. I thought maybe they'd do like a WWE match on the White House lawn. But then he started being more of a UFC guy throughout the years. And now he says they're going to do it. Next 4th of July, the nation's 250th birthday, he says they're going to have a UFC fight on the White House lawn. I'm like, remember the Jake Paul-Mike Tyson boxing match last year? Every celebrity possible wanted to be linked to that. I think the same dynamic is going to happen with this. Unless there's political reasons that they don't want to associate with it, which is a thing. But if there's not, expect a lot of big names to want to be attached to this because it may be the highest profile UFC match in history if it happens, which we're going to analyze in a bit. But I want to illustrate that to you right now. Let's put it on the screen. Look what came out the day after this. Let's start with Conor McGregor. Puts this on X. He's been talking about maybe he's going to be retired. I don't quite know what his status is. Well, his status is he will be back in an octagon if this happens. July 4th, next year is a Saturday, regarding President Trump UFC White House event. I will be reigning president of Ireland. So apparently Conor is running for president of Ireland. I might get into that on a different episode because that's a whole thing of its own. But just under 1 year when I step out on the lawns of the White House to throw down epic proportions, or as I like to call it, Tuesday at the office, vote McGregor with an Irish flag. Don't switch screens just yet. I want to point out Conor McGregor, if you've noticed, has been at the White House a lot, meeting with President Trump, so he may be a guy they decide to put in the ring. The next slide, let's switch it. Jon Jones, just retired a few weeks ago, arguably the greatest fighter of all time. He puts this out the next day. Just re-entered the testing pool. That lasted for about 2 weeks. Figured we'd keep everyone's options open. You might remember a few months ago, Trump was at Jon Jones' fight and went up and he did the little Trump dance and stuff. These are two of the highest profile fighters on the planet, both essentially retired. Jon Jones literally retired 2 weeks ago. You can come back to me here. But now that they see a UFC fight on the White House lawn, they're all coming out of the woodwork. They want to be a part of this because they know it's historic and it's arguably the biggest UFC fight in history. If it happens. If being the operative word. Because The president says it's going to happen, so very well could, but this is politics. This would be bringing UFC dead center into politics more than it's ever been before. This is not the president going to a UFC fight in Miami. This is bringing the UFC octagon to the White House, and as he said, tens of thousands of people maybe in the crowd. So I wanted to bring a guy who knows kind of the fighting world. He definitely knows politics to help me break this down, get his thoughts. Ed Dean. If you're in Jacksonville, if you're in Florida, you probably know Ed Dean. He's a right-wing talker on the radio, pretty well-known, pretty big. He hosts the Ed Dean radio show Monday through Friday. And I wanted to get his opinion. Do you think this will happen? And if it does, what does it take? What are the political implications? What are the fight implications? All of that, because this would be groundbreaking. So I wanted to pick this idea apart with Ed Dean. So here is host of the Ed Dean radio show. Here's Ed Dean. Well, we're joined now by a friend of the show, Ed Dean, host of the Ed Dean radio show. Ed, thank you for joining us again.
Hey, man. Hey, I need my NWO music.
You got it. I can't hear it, but I love that that's the music of choice. Well, I got to ask. So I was like, who do I need to talk to about this? You were the man. As soon as I heard right before Independence Day, President Trump, I think he was in Iowa, say he wants to do a UFC fight at the White House. Thoughts? Are you surprised?
I'm just, okay, so let me give you a little backdrop. Okay, he's had a pretty good couple weeks. Whether you agree with it or not, now let me set this up for the wrestling stuff. Bombed Iran, ceasefire in Israel. I guess there's no MMA fight over there now, right now, I guess you could say. Supreme Court's giving him good stuff. He's passed this tax bill. He's in a pretty good flipping mood. And I'm sitting here going, okay, I know how we all get in a good mood. We get what we want. But listen, to put it, I mean, we're really going to have one of these UCF fights. What are we talking about? The front yard, the grounds of the White House?
I'm guessing White House lawn. That's just my guess. They put the octagon out there.
I think that's goofy. I mean, really, do it anywhere else. No offense. I just think that's just a little goofy. I'm sure I'll get hate mail on that, but I don't see it.
You might. So if he goes through this, there's a lot to unpack. So two fighters, John Jones, who's the greatest UFC fighter maybe in history, just retired 2 weeks ago, and Conor McGregor, who I think might be running for president of Ireland, something like that. But two guys who were essentially done fighting, they both put on X in the days after this saying, I want to be involved. Are you surprised if it happens, high-profile fighters would want to be on that?
No, Trump will do it. And in fact, it probably – I don't think it would just be like one fight. I would assume it would be several. That's what I'm thinking of.
That's my guess. Like a full show.
Yeah. What are they going to do? Roadhouse 2, and Conor can promote that through that as well. But I think it's a goofy. I mean, what's next? I mean, Linda McMahon with her son-in-law Tal Hunter to put a WWE wrestling event out there as well.
I was wondering that since he put Linda on the cabinet the first term when she was head of the Small Business Administration, I wondered if they were going to do something like this with WWE. And then Dana White shows up, and he's essentially been Trump's right-hand man, introduces him at the Republican National Convention. I was there, and I remember he flew, I want to say, from Italy just to intro who he portrayed as his friend, then candidate, now President Donald Trump. Are you surprised that he would utilize his – he's kind of got this crew of Dana White, Kid Rock – these different fighters, it's just kind of become his clique.
I mean, I'm not making this up. If this is going to happen, and let's say that the optics work well, why wouldn't the mayor, Donna Deegan, she's got pretty good poll numbers right now, why not cut a deal with, Tony Khan and have an AEW event? Does it really work out since they're at Daly's place? I don't know. But I'm just telling you, you can have a pay-per-view instead of do another one at Jack Stadium, but have it like in the, like how they take it through the football fields like they used to do, and then why not have it at the town hall center? You know what I'm saying? Not town hall, but saying town hall or city hall.
So I want your opinion on this. Is if it happens a year out, he wants to do on the 250th birthday next 4th of July. You could maybe answer this. So Trump is eventually going to hit lame duck status. I don't know when that would be. 4th of July next year would be 6 months before the midterms.
Right.
And we can't predict what's going to happen politically. Do you feel he has the political capital a year from now still to pull this off? I mean, we haven't hit the midterms yet.
I mean, that's a great question. I mean, he doesn't have another term to do, at least that's what he says. I think before the elections, I think if he wants to do it, he wants to do it. Because afterwards, he will be able to, they're going to try to impeach him for whatever, stuff like that. If they find out he's trying to make a couple of bucks off of it. I think if he does it next year on the 4th. I just don't see it happening.
Why do you think he's just bloviating and it's not real? Or do you think reality winds will come at him and say you can't do this?
Well, I mean, he does it a lot. I mean, it's like the tariffs. It's on one week, it's off the other week. Let's go deport everybody, but we'll kind of deal till the Florida farmers. I mean, he's on. I mean, I think he would push it. I just think that some people are going to sit back and say, doesn't look good. And I think, and that you asked a good question. If the numbers show that his numbers are kind of, and this again, it's a year out. If his numbers kind of sink a little bit, I don't think he's going to do it. I think he's on a high right now, and he's having a good time. He's got some decent polling numbers. I think it's just running at the mouth. I think I say that politely.
So he does a lot of these UFC fights. He takes his crew. It's always fascinating to see like Dana White, Trump, Kid Rock, and then Mike Johnson. And Mike Johnson always seems like a fish out of water in these shots.
I don't think Mike would go to it. He goes to like a Baptist church. But you know something, watching Trump, whether you agree with him, right, he's very personal. I got to tell you, I mean, he's kind of like Obama and Clinton, it's just very personal. I mean, you want to play golf. I mean, he seems to just get along with everybody at the UCF fights.
Do you think the fighters know if it happens, kind of like when he and Vince McMahon went against each other in 2007? Everyone remembers the wrestlers were Bobby Lashley for Trump, Umaga for McMahon. I mean, it's images because every fight, every wrestling match, people forget about within a week or two. Stuff like this, people remember years out, do they not? Because it's so unusual.
Yeah, they would do it. If they do it, I wonder. I mean, he's known to like this alligator Alcatraz. I mean, it was kind of there, but it really came out of nowhere, like a hurricane. And he's known to maybe promote it and then slack off and then do it. Remember, like the debates last year, like it happened in June, but everybody, we're on the radio, you're on with us. Like we didn't know if in May, is it on, is it off? And then it's finally going to happen. So I don't know how much leeway or notice he'll do it. I mean, the question is, it'll be a big sellout if you could get it done. But how do you put everybody there? How do you deal with security? Do you put it in a big tent? Do you do it outside? How do you deal with the weather? I don't know. There's a lot of logistics there. I don't know if it's going to work.
The logistics that you bring up, that's a real valid point. I mean, they got weather. I don't know how big the White House lawn can handle a kid's Easter egg roll, but a UFC octagon and, 1,000 screaming fans.
That White House lawn is huge. I've been up there. It's huge.
And I do want to ask, though it is, I didn't know it was big. That's good to know. How do you think if he goes through with it, there's going to be critics? I mean, think of the networks. They will go off on this. I mean, do you think the critics would salivate over criticizing him?
Oh, they love it. I don't know if even Republicans would go along with it. It's not as entertaining as it is, and it sounds great. It's just not the place for an event to happen at the White House. I mean, it was great that everybody went up there. What was it on the 4th of July or the date? Yeah, it was on the 5th of the 4th. Excuse me. And everybody showed up on the picnics. Everybody had a good time. But I just don't see this. I know some people would like, oh, Ed, you're not. I'm like, listen, if this had been Joe Biden, Republicans would have a field day on this. But we do it. Oh, it's okay. I'm just whatever. I just don't think it's what's the word? Just the optics, I guess. It's tradition.
You think the optics will look bad?
It will look bad. I don't think a lot of Republicans go along with it. I think it's just, I mean, what's going to be? I mean, now if you had a UCF and a WWE event the next day, but again.
But still, it's the same. It's the same optics. It's a ring. It's fighting on the White House lawn.
Hey, have you ever noticed? You remember how you've talked about this before? Where, well, I should ask you this. Out of all the people you've interviewed politically, I'm going to get to my point here. So let me ask you a question. All the people, whether it's the Mick Foleys, the Undertakers, the Dave Batistas, even former wrestlers, how many percentages would you say were for Trump versus Harris? 60-40 or even what?
I think just going on the numbers of the ones who would speak out, This is just the ones who would speak out.
Right.
People who don't speak out, I have no way to know. I'd say probably 2-1 Trump. So, and I could just list the names. I mean, Taker, Kane, $1 Million Man, Ryback.
Now,
all these people were saying Trump stuff. And on the other side, we had Foley, Kevin Nash, CM Punk, Dave Bautista. But I would say probably 2-1 Trump.
Okay.
That's my guess.
But here's the question. How many in UCF or UFC is pro-Trump versus the other side?
Well, I mean, they see the boss, Dana White, is so involved, and Trump's at all their fights. And I think that overshadows a lot of it to a point. I mean, this is the president coming to my fight, and guys want to – and I would bet a lot of these people just aren't political. I mean, we hear it. You and I live in the bubble where everyone's political. A lot of these guys are just fighters. They don't think a lot about it.
If Ed Dean is a promoter, this is how I would do it. You do it on a Friday and on a Saturday, or knowing wrestling, these days they move it all around on Sunday, have the UFC, and then have the WWE, because Stephen A. Smith will somehow try to get ESPN. Pat McAfee will be there, and The Rock, who knows what he wants to do. You know, he's got his brand new UFC Fight movie coming out. So, I mean, it could be, I mean, you never know. It could be star-studded.
So, I'm really fascinated what the behind-the-scenes meetings are like, but I do wonder, I mean, he is at a high, as you say, right now. We don't know where he's going to be in a year. I mean, in midterms, the next presidential race, people are going to start talking about that over the next year, which is why when I've talked to people in Trump world, they say he is trying to do stuff as fast as he can because he knows the lame duck era is eventually coming of his presidency.
Now, again, if anybody knows about the White House, just in D.C. Last month, anybody sees the optics, this thing could go south. I mean, you just don't have enough security. And by the way, the other side would be rightfully to itch and complain. There isn't enough security to handle all of this, number one. Number two, if there is a drive-by or like you know, we had before the election, what happened in Louisiana where somebody from a foreign country is trying to take out people. I mean, if something went south there, bad for the Republicans going into the election. And there was even if somebody tried to blow it up, or I'm wishful thinking. I'm just kidding.
And next July, midterms are in full force. I mean, that's the big deal.
That's right. And everybody's on vacation. How are you going to pat down everybody? I just don't see it. It's just the optics I don't think are there.
Well, we will see. Ed Dean, host of the Ed Dean Radio Show. Ed, thank you for joining us today.
Scott, always good to be on with you. Thank you so much, brother.
There you go. So that's Ed's opinion. He doesn't think it will happen. He doesn't think this will happen. I don't know that I agree with Ed. I mean, Dana White has been huge with the Trump circle, the Trump world. I know this very well. I think it very well could happen. We'll have to see. We'll be watching, of course. If the president's team's listening, Going Ringside, happy to offer our services. If you guys need a streaming platform, a host, something like that, let us know. You know where to find us. But thank you for joining us for this episode of Going Ringside. I'm your host, Scott Johnson. We'll see you back here next time.
This has been Going Ringside with The Local Station, brought to you every Wednesday on your favorite podcast player, on News4Jax Plus, as well as the News4Jax YouTube channel.